This time I have a Sony ES multi-disc changer, 5-disc changer, and what made the ES ones better than the regular ones? Not really much. Actually, they were the same machine. You just paid a lot more for it. And they kind of just give it a new coat of paint and, a few other, made it a little bit heavier, to give you the illusion that you were actually getting something better than you really were, because these machines, they were no different than the run-of-the-mill. Let's check it out. This time I have a Sony, this is the ES, I guess an ES 5-disc changer. What's the model on this one? This is a 79 ES, CDP C79 ES. I used to have one like this myself. I traded it for a 200 disc, my first 200 disc. This one here, well, it makes noise when you move it around. It has stuff sliding around in it. Let's get the top off it and see why. So what Sony did on these machines, to make them appear heavier than they really were, they glued, actually they double-sided taped a plate inside to make the cover heavier. No, actually this was to reduce resonance of the top cover. So when you were playing the music with it blasting, vibrations from the cabinet wouldn't make it down inside here. That's why they did it. The joke about them putting that on to make it heavier, which that's a joke. Actually, maybe they did it for that too, but the double-sided tape has gone bad. I just so happen that I have some, so let's just retape this thing in place and deal with that right now. Okay, so I'll just take this piece, and we know exactly where it was because they had some glue on here too that let go, but we can just drop it back in exactly as it was and press it in place, and that will hold that. And if I really want to make sure that this thing never moves again, which I do, I'm going to put a bead of silicone along here, and that will prevent this unit from falling down yet again when the double-sided tape fails in another 40 years. So we'll just put a bead of silicone. And while that's setting up, we'll check out the unit and see what else, if anything, is wrong with it. These ones here typically had like an anti-slip coating on, the crap that gets all sticky on cameras and stuff. Well, they kind of put that same crap on this. So this eventually will get sticky. It was the same tray that they had on their other machines, except for they put that stupid coating on there that just is, a recipe for disaster. Again, the premise of that was, it'll stop this from being resonant. As if this thing resonating is going to cause a problem. It was just ES. The running joke for ES did not mean Esprit series or elevated specifications or elevated series. No. It meant expensive shit. Now, in the name of science, we want to see what this does. Does it play different formats of discs? Does it play anything at all? So first things first, I'll open it up and we're going to put some different discs in. I'm going to put in a stamped disc. Put that into disc number 1. How do I skip discs on this thing? There we go. And I'll put a CDR into disc number 2. I'll put another CDR of a different type into disc number 3, and into slot number 4 goes an audio CDRW. We'll see whether this machine will play a CDRW, and we'll just see what it does. So this is a stamped disc. Does it play? It does. So let's just check and see if it searches the other tracks out before I move to something that I actually can play.
Picture you.
I gotta play that track. I gotta listen to that track. That's a great track. I gotta listen to this off camera. This is a good track. I can't let it play, but this is a great track. No skipping. That's great. This thing's playing great. Of course, that song is that's Bruce Cockburn from Ottawa. He's a very famous Canadian singer-songwriter. Actually, he was responsible for breaking out the Bare Naked Ladies when they did a cover of one of his tracks, and it was their big Lovers in a Dangerous Time when they redid the cover of that, and that was their breakout song for the Bare Naked Ladies. Anyway, fantastic artist. This unit is playing perfect. I'm gonna go to the next CD here because I can play this one. Make sure that it reads these discs as well. This also has a remote control with it. It got the original remote. The fellow that brought me this one here. I wonder if it's got any batteries in it. Holy crap. Are these the original batteries? These are the original batteries that came with this unit. I bet you they are. Let's just see if there's a date code on them. These are Sony dry battery. These are not even an alkaline cell. These are a carbon zinc type cell. New Super Sony Energy Tech, made in Japan. May explode or leak if recharged or improperly installed. They've got the Japanese writing on them. Is there a date anywhere on these? That's what I'm looking for. These would have come with this unit. Guaranteed these are original batteries. Because you couldn't buy these batteries. What's 222.3? Is that 83 maybe? Or is it 82? Is that 82, 22nd of the third month? Or is it February 22nd, 83? Or is that a part number? Is that a date? Anybody know? Anybody read Japanese? I know I could use Google Translate, but can't be bothered with that. Oh, there's a cat meowing at the door. Anyway, that's incredible that these batteries are in this remote and they have not leaked. And I wonder if they work. I bet you they work. Let's check the voltage on them. Actually, I can check it a couple different ways. One, I can check it with my little Mustool meter. We'll check the battery voltage, and I can also get my battery tester, my Radio Shack battery tester that will actually put these under a load. 1.53 volts. After over 40 years, these batteries are still charged. And these are the original batteries, because I remember this is what came with these remote controls. These batteries have been sitting in this thing for all these years and they still have a charge. Now that's pretty incredible. Take that, Duraleak. Duraleak, they don't even last long enough to get them out of the package. They're leaking by the time you open the package. Goddamn Duracells and Everready and all the crap that you get today. They just, here we got a regular flashlight battery from the 1980s that still holds its charge and doesn't leak. Let's check them in the Radio Shack battery tester. Well, under load it says that they're failing, but under load it says they're weak. But they've got voltage. Do they work? In the remote control, do they work? Well, let's find out. I probably just killed what remaining charge was still in them, but let's see. Does it work? Yeah, it does. It does work. Stop. Play. Unbelievable. Well, it's believable because we're seeing them work. But that is unbelievable that batteries that are at least 40 years old are still functional. I don't know what year this player was brought or was made. I guess I could look on the back and see if there's a date on it. Okay, it's not as old as I thought it was. It's only 32 years old. 1992 was when this one was made. And those batteries would have been made at the same time. So still, they're 32 years old and they still work. That's pretty incredible. Let's move to the next disc, which is also CDR, but a different type. It's going to play it. It's going to play it. I don't think it's going to play this one, but it might. It's a 92 player, and CDRs were around by 90, or CDRWs were around by 92, so it should play it. I hope. We'll see. Let's go to disc 4. Is it going to let me down, or is it going to pass the smell test? It does not play CDRW. Well, a lot of them didn't. A lot of CD players did not play CDRW. Sorry, it plays CDRs, no problem. It does not play CDRW. But then again, I don't think many of them did. The DVD players did that were around at the time. Even some of the very first generation DVD players that were produced that did not play CDR played CDRW, no problem. But this one does not play CDRW. It just plays CDR and plays stamped CDs. The unit itself is working, so there's not much for me to do on that. It came to me because it was making a rattling noise. Well, we found out what the rattling noise was. It was just the extra weight that they stuck on the inside of the cover so that they could charge 3 times the price had come loose. And literally, that is really about all that's different between this and the non-ES equivalent. They had wood side panels for it as well, but that was really about it. Few things. I'll show you the front panel. So the front panel, you've got a timer for playback so that it'll start playing when you apply power, and it's got a digital signal processor, which I don't know that all the consumer decks had. I think a few of them did, but you can change your sound like I mean, this is kind of useless, but let's play around with some of these bells and whistles. Make it sound like a hall. It had an equalizer as well. Reverb control, so you can make it sound like a big hall. Oh, let's try church. You can equalize it to sound like a big church or a jazz club or a whole stadium. Ooh. it's supposed to be heard. You don't need this crap. Like, oh, it's just like a selling feature, I guess, eh? I want to get something with some vocals in it. I want to hear what that reverb sounds like. Let me just cue something up here.
Turning on the TV station. I'm in trouble. Hey, I'm running wild. When all things get loud.
Wow.
Babylon. Out of ladies and women. Go yeah, hey.
Seems everything like it's so and so. And I'm dancing. I hope I hurry. And so.
And then you could actually set it at what's called a DSP file. So this one here had a feature on here that you could file away your settings per disk. And then the next time you go to the disk, it was part of the custom file, if you know what custom file did. What custom file was every CD, they could pretty much identify it because it was keyed off of information that was written in the table of contents. Number of tracks, plus the playing time in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Even though you don't see frames showing up on here, every second of audio is made up of 33 frames, ranging from 0 to 33. There's every 3 seconds there's 100 frames. Is how digital audio is framed. Digital audio tape works the same. So for the first second there's 33 frames, or it's 33 and 34. Sorry. Second number 1 has 33 frames. Second number 2 has 33 frames, and second number 3 has 34 frames. So it runs from 0 to 32, and then 0 to 32, and then 0 to 33. And then for frame number 4, or for second number 4, you start off at 0 again, 4 seconds and 0 frames. And it goes back to that repeating 0 to 32, or 33 frames, and then 34. Right? Because 33, 33, and 34 add up to 100. So the custom file on Sony CD players read the number of tracks on the disc, and it read that the total running time based in minutes, seconds, and frames for each disc. And that became a unique number, because the chances of having another CD ever produced that had the same number of tracks and the same running time down to the frame was virtually as, the chances of that happening are just as good as winning the lottery, basically, right? Because you've got minute, second, frame, plus 2 tracks from 0, 1 to 99. So the chances of having 2 different discs from 2 different artists having that information be exactly the same are, well, pretty slim. I mean, your chances of winning the lottery are probably pretty good in those odds. But you could, for each disc, set up a specific DSP profile, and you could even enter in the names of the tracks and the name of the disc and everything. And then when you put that disc in, it would show up on the screen. This was before they started using CD text as well. So you could store your information for your discs in memory, and then when you put that disc in again, it would show up on the screen. CD text came along a little bit after that, where they started using some of the sub-tracks, sub-channels that weren't being used to put text information. A custom file, typically, I think they held the information for 50 discs. So once you were full, then you had to delete one. On here, you've got direct access to the disk, play mode, continue, shuffle, program, bank, and time memo. And then your standard controls. Play, pause, stop, skip forward, skip backward, skip forward, reverse search, forward search, disk skip. I don't think this one here will allow you to change a disk while it's playing. Some of them had disk exchange. I'm pretty sure this one here, if I press this button, it's going to open, which it does. And it only lets you change one disk at a time. So say this whole surface is covered with that crap that eventually will start to get really sticky. It hasn't gone like that yet. It's just at that point where it's feeling like it's just gonna go. You can just tell. If I scratch it back here in the area where it doesn't protrude out the front, you can see that. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. You can see it. I did it where it doesn't show up because that never pops out to the front. But yeah, it's bad. But that's what made this machine be worth twice as much as a regular player. Now, the fellow that brought me this one said that he was having some trouble with some of the buttons on the front. They're not acting up for me. He was telling me like the play and the pause button and stuff was kind of acting up, but they're certainly not acting up. I can just barely touch it. So I don't know where he was going there, saying that the buttons weren't working, because they certainly are working for me here. There's another feature on here called peak search. I'll show you how that works. So now you've got yourself your brand new CD and you're ready to record it onto your favorite cassette tape, but you don't know how loud the disc is. There's a button on here called peak search. When you press it, it's going to now turn the disc on. It's going to scan the disc at high speed. And what it's going to do is it's going to find the peak level of this entire disc once it finishes scanning all the tracks, as you can see. What it's then going to do is it's going to set up an A-B repeat, and it's going to play that loudest section over and over and over again, so that I can sit there with my tape deck and I can adjust the level control to get the tape exactly correct, get the level set exactly correct, so that I won't have any distortion, especially if I'm recording it through the analog outs onto, say, something like a DAT tape, where I want to maximize my signal level without exceeding. So it goes through all the tracks, and then it will tell me the highest level on here. See, Sony was contributing to piracy right there, giving you an easy way to set your recording levels. Otherwise, you had to do it the way the rest of us did and play the entire CD through and listen to it and watch it. In other words, using your meters. Now it says peak. There it is there. Once I've got my level set, I stop it. Okay, now I'm ready to go. Now I cue up my tape and I hit play and I start playing it and record. And now my levels are set for the entire disc. That was the whole point in that. Again, a feature that really was unnecessary, but it was one that you paid extra for. Has a variable line output as well and phono level, so you could control the output to your amplifier, and this would have been probably controllable from the remote control. I'm just looking to see if there's buttons on here. Yeah, it does a line out level. And it's supposed to turn this down, but it's not. The line out level is not adjusting. I can see the light flashing, so I know it's receiving the signal, but it's not turning. Probably got a broken belt. Let's see, is there a little belt over here on this motor, or is it? It's probably inside this little cat inside here. There's a little motor here. Do I hear it turning? First of all, let me just take a listen. See if I can hear it or feel it. It might be seized up. It might not even be a belt on this thing. I'll use a good old mechanic stethoscope. Stick something solid up against what you want to listen to and jam the other end in your ear and see if I can hear the motor turning. No, I don't. I don't hear the motor spinning. So, is it seized up or is the motor shot? I guess I can put a meter on the back here and measure and see if there's any power getting to the motor, and that'll tell me whether the motor is any good, whether the fellow that owns this wants to fix that or not. That I doubt, but DC voltage, all right. Yeah. So it's stuck. It's got power, so we know that the circuitry is working, but the motor's not turning. So it's either the motor is stuck or the gearbox here is stuck. There's a gearbox here. This turns a worm gear, which will turn another gear, which turns that. And, well, I guess it's probably stuck. I don't know whether I can get into it. Oops. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do anything on this or not. If I can open this up. I'm going to say that the motor itself is shot. It doesn't appear to be jammed. I could turn it and it doesn't operate. So it's probably just been sitting so long that either oxidation or something has formed on the commutator, and it's just not making a connection to the brushes, but that's okay. It's just the line out phono level remote control, that a feature that nobody ever uses anyway. Most people don't use the variable out on these. They use the fixed level output. Anyway, this unit's working, so just had to fix that top cover, and that was really all that was wrong with it. So the fellow that owns this will be pretty happy to hear that. See, I can't find anything else wrong with any of the other buttons. They're all working. I still can't understand why anybody in their right mind would have ever used digital signal processing. The whole point in a CD is to get the sound as close as possible to the way that the artist intended you to hear it, which was equalized at the time it was recorded and recorded onto a CD. Why would you want to add extra equalization and reverb to it to make it sound bad? That I'll never figure out. I think some of these AV receivers even had sound fields for things like a cave. Why on God's earth would you want to listen to your music like it's sounding, like it's being performed in a cave? But they had those options. It's like, no. I don't particularly like hearing music played in stadiums. Yeah, you go to a stadium, because some popular artist has sold out 80,000 tickets, and they have to play it in a football stadium, which sounds like crap. And you go there and listen to the music, and it sounds like crap. But when you're listening to it at home, you don't want it to sound like that. You want it to sound like they intended you to hear it. So I think all these extra bells and whistles are just a way to jack up the price for features that nobody uses. They use the one button that's marked flat. and that's it. Anyway, I'm going to close this one up now because I think the unit is fine. I'm going to let that silicone seal up a bit more, but this unit here appears to be working. So other than the fact that the interior of the cabinet had dropped down, and that was his complaint. He says he thought the tray was loose. That's what he brought it to me. He said, I think the tray is loose inside. I shake it around and it plays. If I turn it a certain way, it plays. Well, what was happening was that metal plate was landing on something here, and it was either stopping the disc from loading, or it was stopping it from turning. If it was sitting on top of here, it was probably preventing it from turning because of the weight of it sitting on top of the. That's more than likely what the fault was. Let's go back to another disc here. That's probably why it wasn't working. And then he said, yeah, it was making noise. It would have been the weight of that metal sitting on here. That's where his problem was. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.